Okay, good afternoon everyone. Today I'll talk about the basics of security. See, first of all, the amount of information which we are consuming is increasing at an exponential rate. So, data is important for our everyday use. Data is important for our everyday aspects. It has become a part of our daily lives. So information has become an asset just like any other normal asset. Okay. So there are three fundamentals of security. The first one is confidentiality. That is, the information has to be hidden from the unauthorized access. The second is integrity. That the information has to be protected from unauthorized change. And the third one is availability. Availability means that the information should be available whenever you need it. Okay, so earlier the information which was collected was stored on a physical file. Earlier it used to happen like this, but the confidentiality was achieved by restricting or limiting the use of the files to only just few users. In the same way, only few trusted people could have a look at the contents of that information. So in the same way, only few authorized people were allowed to change the contents of the files. This was existing when cryptography was not applied with the computers, but later on cryptography was applied with the computers. So availability was achieved by designing at least one person who would have access to all the files at all the times. So having a central authority for security was an advantage, and it was also a very big disadvantage also, because one central authority can read the entire communication. One central authority can also secretly sell the keys. One central authority can also eavesdrop on the entire communication, which can be very dangerous. So having a central authority has its own advantages and disadvantages. And even then, the three requirements of the security which I have already quoted, they did not change. They remain the same. And during the last 2 decades, there has been a lot of progress in terms of networking, in terms of databases, in terms of operating systems. There has been a lot of change in every field of computers, even in hardware, algorithms, data structures. Just name any field, and you will find a lot of revolutionary changes into it. Okay, so authorized people can send and receive information from a distance using the computer networks, and the use of cryptography is not just limited to computer networks. Cryptography can be applied to databases, cryptography can be applied to operating systems, cryptography can be applied to even to normal web programming. I mean, you can do anything out of it. I am not restricting cryptography in any way. And the three requirements, namely confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I will discuss all three of them in detail in this video. And before that, please smash that like button and please subscribe to my channel. And we will also discuss that how the different types of attacks can threaten these types of goals, and we will also discuss the different types of the services of the security. Now I'll start with the confidentiality. It is the most common aspect of achieving security, and we need to protect our information, which is confidential information, and we need to protect our information against the malicious users. Because in industry or in military or even in banks, the concealment or the revealing of information can be a serious threat. So the best way to achieve confidentiality is to encrypt the data. You may be thinking that okay, we can also put access restrictions on the different types of data. It does work. Sometimes it does not work sometimes, but cryptography will always work. So confidentiality not only applies to the storage of information, it also applies to the transmission of the information. Because when we send a piece of information stored on a remote computer, or when we retrieve a piece of information from a remote computer, we need to conceal it during the transmission. Integrity. Integrity means that, for example, you are working on a bank, so the data which you are sending and the data which you are receiving, they are totally same. The data has not been modified while in was in the way. So it means that only the authorized people have made changes into it. It means that there is no such thing as unnecessarily violation or modification of the data. Then the third one means availability. Availability means that the information which is created or stored by an organization has to be made available to all the authorized entities. So information will become useless if it is not available to all the authorized entities. So information has to be changed constantly and it has to be accessible to all the authorized entities. So the unavailability of the information can be very harmful for the organization because it can be compared to the lack of confidentiality or integrity. For example, if in a bank customers are not able to access their accounts or customers are not able to access the information inside their accounts, then that becomes a serious violation of availability. Now, I will be discussing different types of attacks. The first one is the cryptographic attacks. See, cryptographic attacks employ algebraic techniques and statistical techniques, and it is a very vast subject, and I can make separate videos on that subject, and I will definitely make it. So this method inspects the mathematical properties of the different types of cryptographic algorithms, and it will also inspect the different types of implementation properties of the different types of algorithms, how the ciphertext is organized, what are the properties of the ciphertext, and how the symbols in the different ciphertexts are behaving. So the objective of this kind of cryptographic attacks is, crypto analytic attack is to find the properties of the cipher which does not exist within the random function. So this is mean that we distinguish the attack, and the attacker guesses the key and looks for this distinguishing property. If the property of the specific type is detected, I'll discuss all these properties in these future videos. Then the guess is correct. Otherwise, the crypto analyst will try again. Now, some of the examples of crypto analytic attacks are brute force attack, acoustic attacks, side channel attacks, attacks to authentication, and I will also employ divide and conquer technique to attack my cipher. An attack can be deemed to be successful if it is easy to perform that attack by guessing the complexity, and that complexity has to be lesser than the brute force complexity. Then second one is non-cryptanalytic attacks, and this is the second type of the attack, and the goals of the security, namely availability, integrity, and confidentiality, can be threatened by these kind of attacks. And these kind of non-cryptanalytic attacks can be divided into different types. The first one is denial of service attack, repudiation attack, replaying attack, masquerading attack, modification attack, traffic analysis attack, and snooping attack. Okay, and I will be discussing all of this one by one. So first of all, I'll start with the denial of service attack. Denial of service attack has become very common nowadays, and it can either interrupt the complete working of the system or it can completely slow down the system. So attacker has to use different types of strategies to achieve this, and the attacker can send some sort of bogus or fake request to the server, and the server can crash under the heavy load. Some of the most common examples are ping attack, ping attack, and the attacker can also intercept or delete the server's response to the client, and the server will behave as if it is not at all responding. And this kind of attack can work by overloading the memory, overloading the processing power, overloading the network resources, or even overloading your processor. This is how denial of service attack works. And repudiation is an attack which is performed either by the receiver or by the sender. It is performed by any of the two parties which are involved in communication. The sender of the message can deny that he has sent the message or she has sent the message. The receiver of the message can also deny that the message was received by the receiver. And the best example is a bank transaction in which any of the parties, receiving party or the sending party, can later on deny that she or he has received the money. Then comes replaying attack. Replaying attack is also another type of the attack, and what it does is that it will obtain a copy of the message from the sender and it will try to replay it, and it can be countered by using timestamp. And for example, you are asking that some sort of money has to be transferred from your bank account to another account A, and you later on again you send that you tell that attacker to again send that money. So it can be countered if you are using the timestamp, because the computer of the bank will verify the timestamp, and if the timestamp is not matching, then this attack can be stopped. Then comes the masquerading attack. Masquerading or spoofing happens when the attacker impersonates as somebody else. For example, the attacker may steal the bank card or the PIN of a bank customer and pretend that he has that customer. Sometimes the attacker pretends instead to be receiver and entity. For example, a user tries to contact the bank but the site pretends that the bank and obtain some information from the user. So someone can even create a fake website of the bank, and it can be tracked by maintaining digital signatures, and digital signature is also a very large subject. I will be discussing that in the future videos. Modification. After intercepting or accessing information, the attacker can modify the information, and this can be done for the benefits of the attacker. For example, a customer will request a bank to perform some sort of transaction, and the attacker will later on intercept that message, and it will change the type of the transaction for its own benefit. And in some kind of and in this kind of situation, the attacker can delay or delete the message. Then comes the traffic analysis. The best way of performing traffic analysis is Wireshark. Wireshark is a very large topic. I will be making a separate video on that also. And it can be traffic analysis can be avoided by performing cryptography. For example, the attacker can collect the different types of the packets which were being sent between the different email addresses. Then comes another types of attack to confidentiality, and this attack is called the snooping attack. This is some sort of unauthorized interception or access to the data. For example, a file which is having a confidential information is being sent on the network, and what can happen is that an unauthorized entity can intercept it in the middle of the network and use the contents for its own benefit. And to prevent the snooping, the data has to be made encrypted by using different types of cryptographic techniques, and I will discuss all the cryptographic techniques on my channel. So again and again I'm requesting you, please subscribe to my channel if you want to learn about cryptography. Okay, so I'll move forward. Passive and active attacks. What can be the different types of passive attacks? What can be the different types of active attacks? Some of the examples of passive attacks are snooping, traffic analysis. Some of the examples of this snooping traffic analysis is a threat to the confidentiality of the information. Modification, masquerading, replaying, and reputation is the threat to the integrity of the information, and it is an active attack. And on the other hand, denial of service is an active attack, and it is a threat to the availability of the information. So passive attack is an attack in which the attacker just obtains the information, he does not modify it, and any sort of harm to the system is not done in this kind of attack, and the system will continue with the normal operation. On the other hand, the active attack is an attack in which the attacker can harm the system, the attacker can modify the contents of the information, the attacker can threaten the availability and the integrity of the information, and these kind of active attacks are generally easier to detect as compared to the passive attacks, and and the active attacks are also easier to detect. And if you are comparing that with passive attacks, the passive attack means that the revealing of information may harm the sender or the receiver of the message, but the system will remain unaffected. For this reason, it is difficult to detect this type of attack until the sender or the receiver find out by the leaking of the confidential information. And the best way to avoid passive attack is the encipherment or encryption of the data. Now I will describe what is services and mechanism in terms of security. First of all, I'll talk about the basic term. It is called ITU, International Telecommunication Union, Telecommunication Standardization Sector. Now, the security services consist of access control, non-reputation. Non-reputation can mean proof of delivery and proof of origin. Authentication. Authentication means data origin and peer entity. Data integrity means anti-replay and anti-change, and data confidentiality. I'll be discussing all these different types of attacks at the same time. You already know what is data confidentiality, data integrity, and authentication by now. And non-reputation, also you know that it is a mechanism by which either the sender or the receiver cannot later on deny sending the data. In non-reputation, with the proof of the origin, the receiver of the data can later prove the identity of the sender if the sender later on denies that he has sent the information. The best example is transactions on a stock market. Then comes the access control. Access control will provide the information against unauthorized access to the data, and it can be done by using, because it is a very broad term and it involves executing programs, modifying, writing, and reading of the data. Then comes the security mechanisms. Security mechanisms can include access control, notarization, routing, traffic padding. Traffic padding means that you are adding some extra information at the end of the message to avoid cryptanalysis. Authentication, exchange, digital signature. Digital signature is done by the private key of the sender and it is verified by the public key of the sender. Digital signature is a very vast subject. I need many videos to explain it in detail, so please watch all of my videos. Data integrity is done by using irreversible one-way hash mathematical function. Okay, and routing control means that you are continuously changing the routes and you are selecting a specified route between the sender and the receiver to avoid eavesdropping. So cryptography is of three different types. The first one is symmetric key encipherment. In symmetric key encipherment, the key which is used for encryption and decryption is same. The best example I'll show you on my computer screen. Uh, I'll show you. I have installed a software. It is called Encrypt Files, and it's a very nice software. If you want to do experiments with it, please go ahead. All these are symmetric key ciphers. Blowfish, Twofish, Cast, Ice, Mars, Misty, RC2, RC4, RC6, Regindle, AES256, T, Serpent, and Triple DES. Then comes the asymmetric key decipherment. In asymmetric key, the key which is used for encryption is the public key of the receiver, and the key which is used for decryption is the private key of the receiver. Some of the best examples are RSA, Ravish, Shamir, and Elderman algorithm. It is a very famous algorithm and very important algorithm. McClinchy, Gamal. Crypto systems are also asymmetric key crypto systems. Elliptic cryptography is coming up and it is very popular for encryption and decryption. Then comes the hashing. In hashing, a fixed length message digest is created out of a variable length message. The digest is normally much smaller than the message to be useful, but the message and the digest must be sent to the receiver. So hashing is used to provide check values which were discussed in relation to providing the integrity of the data. Then comes the steganography. Steganography means, I'll highlight this, it means hiding the information. You can hide the information within the video. You can hide an information within the image also. Now let us assume that one image is of 24 bit. 24 bit means that you have got 8 components, 8 components of red, 8 components of green, and 8 components of blue. So this 2 to the power 8 plus 8 plus 8 will come out to be 2 to the power 24. So in this 2 to the power 24, and let us assume that your image is 1000 pixels in wide and 1000 pixels in depth. So in 2 to the power 24 multiplied by 1000, which will come out to be roughly 2 to the power 34. If you are changing 1 pixel, then it is generally difficult to detect it, and same goes for the video. Same can go for the text. I mean, there are many ways of achieving steganography. You can puncture some sort of hole within the letters, and you can achieve steganography by making a small hole. Or we will be discussing the different methods of achieving steganography in this channel also. So thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye, good day, and happy Diwali.